All right, everyone. More coffee. I'm telling you, I don't know what's going on in the month of March. It is the 12th day, 2013. I need some coffee before I bring you this story. Not only do the citizens of California need to worry about these earthquakes and the seismic activity and a megaquake, they got to worry about their home being busted into and losing their Second Amendment rights. California seizes guns as owners lose right to bear arms. Wearing bulletproof vests and carrying 40 caliber Glock pistols, 9 California Justice Department agents assembled outside a ranch-style house in a suburb east of Los Angeles. They were looking for a gun owner who'd recently spent 2 days in a mental hospital. They knocked on the door and asked to come in. About 45 minutes later, they came away peacefully with free firearms. California is the only state that tracks and disarms people with legally registered guns who they say have lost the right to own them. According to Attorney General Kamala Harris, almost 20,000 gun owners in the state are prohibited from possessing firearms, including convicted felons, those under a domestic violence restraining order, or deemed mentally unstable. What do we do about the guns that are already in the hands of persons who by law are considered too dangerous to possess them? Harris said in a letter to Vice President Joe Biden after a Connecticut shooting in December left 26 dead because it was a gun-free zone. That's why there were 26 dead. She recommended that Biden head the White House review of gun policy consider California as a national model. As many as 200,000 people nationwide may no longer be qualified to own firearms, according to Garen Wintermute, director of the Violence Prevention Research Program at the University of California, Davis. Other states may lack confiscation programs because they don't track purchases as closely as California, which requires most weapon sales go through a licensed dealer to be reported. Very, very few states have an archive of firearm owners like we have, said Wintermute, who helped set up the program. Funding increase. Harris, a 48-year-old Democrat, has asked California lawmakers to increase the number of agents from the current 33. They seized about 2,000 weapons last year. Agents also took 117,000 rounds of ammunition and 11,000 high-capacity magazines, according to state data. We're not contacting anybody who can legally own a gun. Yes, you are. Yes, you are, said John Marsh, a supervising agent who coordinates the sometimes continuous seizures. I've got called the Antichrist the other day. Every conspiracy theory you've heard of, take that times 10. Good. Good. Because you want to disarm the American people. You're using every excuse you can, every shooting that is done not by a law-abiding citizen, but legally purchased their firearms, but by some deranged nutcase, lunatic, that the government helped create to begin with their mind-altering drugs. So now you want to disarm all law-abiding citizens of the United States of America, and you're showing how you're going to break the door down and seize all their weapons. I mean, come on now. The no-gun list is complied by cross-referencing files on almost 1 million handgun and assault weapon owners with databases of new criminal records and involuntary mental health commitments. About 15 to 20 names are added each day, according to the Attorney General's office. Probable cause: merely being in a database of registered gun owners and having a disqualifying event such as a felony conviction or restraining order isn't sufficient evidence for a search warrant. Marsh said March 5 during raids in San Bernardino County. So the agents often must talk their way into a residence to look for weapons, he said, or have a checkpoint set up somewhere. At a house in Fontana, agents were looking for a gun owner with a criminal history of a sex offense, pimping, according to the Attorney General's office. Marsh said that while the woman appeared to be home, they got no answer at the door. Without a warrant, the agents couldn't enter and had to leave empty-handed. They had better luck in nearby Upland, where they seized 3 guns from the home of Lynette Phillips, 48, who'd been hospitalized for mental illness, and her husband David. 1 gun was registered to her, 2 to him. The prohibited person can't have access to a firearm, regardless of who the registered owner is, said Michelle Gregory, a spokeswoman for the Attorney General's office. Involuntarily held in an interview as agents inventoried the guns, Lynette Phillips said that while she'd been held involuntarily against her will, where are our freedoms, in a mental hospital in December, the nurse who admitted her had exaggerated the magnitude of her condition. Todd Smith, chief executive officer of Aurora Charter Oak Hospital in Covina, where documents provided by Phillips show she was treated, didn't respond to telephone and email requests for comment on the circumstances of the treatment. With so much crisis in the world today, with a $16 trillion deficit and the economy about to collapse and no jobs, and people become stressed or have anxiety or get depressed because of the state of the world. Now they're labeled to have mental illness. They're going to have any excuse to take their guns. All right, I'm going to calm down. More coffee. I'm going to calm down. My blood's boiling, and I'm just going to relax. I'm going to relax. Phillips said her husband used the guns for recreation. She didn't blame the Attorney General's agents for taking the guns based on the information they had. She said, "I do feel I have every right to purchase a gun," Phillips said. "I'm not a threat. We are law-abiding citizens." No one was arrested. It's not unusual to arrest a mental health person because every county in the state handles those particular cases differently. Usually a mental health person with a psychiatric condition, usually when the reports I read, the police come in and shoot and kill the person with a mental illness. That's what I read. I'm going to put the link to this below. Bookmark my site. I don't want to read anymore. California seizes guns as owners lose right to bear arms, and they are going to come after your guns no matter what the reason. They want to disarm the American people no matter what the excuse. You've got to be careful what you do, who you talk to, what you tell your doctor when you go to the doctor for a checkup or a physical exam. They're going to ask you, do you own guns? And if you do, you might be mentally unstable and get a diagnosis. Be careful, everyone. Stand up for your rights, your freedom, your right to bear arms, your Second Amendment right. All right, I'm going to relax now. Bookmark, I can't even talk. Bookmark my site. Do not give up your Second Amendment rights. God bless.